Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done. Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to episode 39 of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I'm Scott Steiner, as always, and joining me, as always, my partner here, who's going through this madness with me. I don't know why he does it to himself, but I enjoy it. He's the backbone of the backbone. You hear him everywhere on the Backbone Wrestling Network, and even north-south with Talking Docs. But Logan Crossland. Logan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. You're lucky I didn't hand in my resignation after you foisted James Grunberg upon me last time, but I am back. We did survive the Grunageddon, but no, we had fun last time talking about Slamboree, but happy to be here as always.
We had a great time, but this was the show that might have broken you, as you messaged our chat and said this was the worst Nitro we've seen so far. And Matt Souza then said yet, which, as he seems to remember that this run extremely well, I'm scared for what we got ahead of us.
Yeah.
But let's just jump right in. We're in St. Louis tonight. That will become very apparent later on in the night. You'll see why. We see stills of Slamboree of all the big matches and everything, and David Arquette turning on DDP. And then I thought we would start in the ring, Logan, but we actually started in the hospital. And we see DDP. He's in the hospital with Kanyon. But then somehow, Kanyon didn't have a room to himself, and Eric Bischoff pulls the curtain back, which Eric would have had to walk past DDP, and so would the New Blood. So, were they waiting here a long time, Logan? Did DDP have to take a piss and they snuck in? A big plot
Maybe
hole
DDP
here.
had really cried and had his hands in his face for a long time, and they just all tiptoed by him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it had to be, because DDP's in the hospital with Kanyon. Kanyon, as we are told, is in a coma and might not be able to walk ever again. He has the Halo whole thing on him.
Has, the Halo
it's very
brace
serious.
On. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Eric's in there with Mike Awesome, Kimberly, Jeff Jarrett, and the Cat. They talk trash to DDP, then they beat him down. And then Kimberly, to make this real bad, takes a bedpan and pours it all over DDP. I guess that's supposed to be piss. Like, whose piss is it? Because Canyon probably has a catheter connected to him, Logan, if he's in a coma. So was that DDP's piss? Like, why was DDP? I mean, that's staying vigil. That's a nice friend. But DDP gets piss poured all over him. And then we see a bus rolling in. And it's the Millionaires Club of Flair, Hogan, Chronic, and Horace getting off. So talk about starting off hot and ending with a fucking whimper, like the last season of Game of Thrones. Like the first couple of seasons were Flair and Hogan, and then the last season was Chronic and Horace. Nitro finally starts, and out comes Eric Bischoff, Mike Awesome, Kimberly, David Arquette, Kat, and Jeff Jarrett. David Arquette is just dressed like an obnoxious douchebag. But this slogan is them trying to this is for Tim Capel and Tim Capel only. Them trying to retcon this angle, Logan, by saying that David Arquette was in on this from the beginning, which makes less than 0 sense. Because Jeff lost the fucking title. Like, if this was part of the angle, part of the thing, why would Jeff have to lose the title? Why would David Arquette have to become champion? Like, it makes no sense. Like, they even said, like, the Tank Abbott match was part of the plan. Like, all the past couple weeks was part of the plan just to screw over DDP. Why not, like, the simplest way to do this was just have DDP get the match and they add Jeff Jarrett into it and be like, who's DDP going to go for? Protect his friend or go for the title? And then still have David Arquette turn on him. That's the simplest way. And we don't get the shitty David Arquette reign or anything. We don't sacrifice Tank Abbott because after they build him up for Goldberg just to lose to fucking David Arquette. But it you know, you're supposed to, I know it's wrestling and like, oh, you know, la-di-da, but when you're like insulting the intelligence of everyone, like, it's dumb. Or if you didn't want to go that route, just say they offered David Arquette a bunch of money and he's an actor and he's all about the money. That's all you got to do. Like, it's so dumb. Like, it pisses me off. Like, and it really set like a bad taste in my mouth. Like they said, oh, it's just a dumb. And he's like, and then David Arquette and like, he's yelling, shut up. Like, he's like so over the top here as a heel. Like, just, I mean, he is getting booed, says like, you know, but he says, sorry, Paige, sorry, Canyon. You should know better than trust someone from Hollywood. Says he's got, David Arquette says he's got one thing to say, and then he was the heavyweight champion thanks to Eric Bischoff. Then Jeff Jarrett gets on the mic and says, Paige, did you ever think you could beat me in a triple cage? Says Paige is a fool and was a has-been. And then we see a car show up, and it's DDP. They don't see this on the Turnertron for some reason. Kimberly is on the mic, and I love you, Kimberly, but you are the epitome of when someone says, oh my God, this girl is hot, and then she opens her mouth and the boner goes down. That's what happens when she tries to talk and act. She says that DDP is ignorant, says this is all about her. Then Eric in his overtop thing says it's all about her as well. Mike Awesome gets on the mic and says, hey, DDP, how's it feel going to take care of your chump-ass friend Canyon for the next 50 years? Which kind of made me depressed, Logan, because this man's Canyon's no longer with us. But DDP's music hits and he comes out. He runs down and fights Mike Awesome. Kat then runs in, and DDP throws him out of the ring as well. Jeff Jarrett had just left the ring, and so did Mike Awesome after like the first encounter. And David Arquette was standing on the ring apron, and DDP drags David in the ring and hits a diamond cutter. And then Kat, Jeff, and Mike Awesome swarm the ring and start beating down DDP. Sting's music hits, and then he shows up and he's in the ring beating down everyone. Sting and DDP stand tall. Then Buff runs down and so does Shane. Well, then Chronic runs down and they beat down Buff and Shane. And the Millionaires Club is standing with Chronic, Sting, and DDP stand tall to cover this angle. But Logan, just so dumb, just insulting your audience with like retconning that David Arquette was in on this from the beginning. Just so dumb. Like Vince Russo, everyone. I can confidently say, Logan, we are smarter than Vince Russo's WCW, and we're 6 minutes into the show.
Yeah, this felt like 30 minutes of. I mean, you said it was only 6 or 7 minutes, but 6, 7, you know.
No, I'm 6 or 7 minutes in. We're 6-7 minutes into the pod, and I'm already saying we're smarter than Vince Russo.
Okay.
This was like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. I was just say this. I don't know how long it was, but it felt forever. This segment dragged and dragged. But yeah, I mean, it's a retcon for the sake of a retcon. Obviously, Arquette super wasn't in it the whole time. And they could have easily done the money thing, like you said. They could have paid him off, and he could have been their their goon, and kind of just done whatever they wanted him to do. But yeah, just lazy booking. Very Russo-rific for sure. But yeah, this dragged. I mean, this kind of combined with the hospital stuff, just it felt like it all kind of merged into one. But it definitely lasted a long time. Definitely insulted the intelligence of the audience, and just yeah, just very Russo-rific. I mean, there's not much else to say. You covered it pretty well, but yeah, just not good. The beginning of a bad night, I'll say.
Yeah, beginning of a bad night for the audience. Like, if we had titles for these shows, it would be like the New Blood is winning or something. But we take a commercial break. We come back and Mean Gene's with Eric and the New Blood. Gene says he's not giving up on. Eric says he's not giving up on winning the war. Whatever. He says DDP wants to play. Eric says DDP will face Mike Awesome in a stretcher match tonight. Which is like, okay, that could have been like a Great American Bash, a stretcher match between the two. But hey, let's put it out on free TV tonight.
Matches on TV, yay!
Vince Russo special. Eric says, Sting, you want to play? You're in our neck of the woods, and says Sting will face Jeff Jarrett tonight for the world title. And this pisses off Jarrett because he's like, what? And Eric says, trust me. And then we see Norman and Ralphus walking backstage. Norman tells Ralphus that Eric Bischoff told him if they lose tonight versus Terry Funk, they are both fired. So, Logan, looks like we got our main event tonight of either Sting versus Jeff Jarrett or Mike Awesome versus DDP. So, interesting. Like, we got two big matches tonight, and I'm shocked, Logan, they're still making Mike Awesome seem to be a big deal. I thought it would be immediate, like, people have said, but here we are. A month later, and he's still shown as upper mid card.
Yeah, that's good to see. Definitely, for sure. I was afraid it was going to be pretty in and out, so hopefully it lasts longer than we think.
I mean, he looks pretty good going up against everyone until Hogan or Nash, as we'll see later. But this leads us to match one, which is Terry Funk versus Norman Smiley and Ralphus for the hardcore title. They show the video of Funk getting his ass beat again. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's bad. Funk gets on the mic and says, Bischoff and Russo, you'll never get this hardcore championship off my old wrinkled ass. It says, bring on the challengers. Norman comes out and welcomes us to his tag partner to Monday Night Ralphus. Ralphus starts walking down the ramp, and then Terry actually runs down the ramp and hits Ralphus with a chair. And then Norman throws his chair at Terry, and he catches it and then throws it back at Norman, which I'm not going to lie was really impressive. We see Terry Funk do some awesome things with some weapons, like when he binged hit Ralphus with the chair last night when he was the night before at Slamboree. But they have like the ramp is set up like it was at Slamboree, so we'll have to see how long that lasts, which I kind of like it. It goes like old school 91 WCW vibes. Like I love the ramp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Me too.
When we had it for the Dangerous Alliance pod. So then we see Terry and Norman battle through the crowd. They trade trash can shots. And then there's like traffic cones that they have. And like Terry throws them at Norman. Norman throws Terry into a ladder. And then for some reason, this, like, I don't know how this isn't like played on like WrestleCrap or anything, but Norman gets on a golf cart and tries to run over Terry. Norman literally steps out of the way. And then Norman keeps driving the golf cart around, like just in circles and shit. And then, I was like, keep in mind, this is the first like 20 minutes, guys. So then Terry starts throwing water bottles at Norman, and then he jumps on the back of the golf cart. Then Norman keeps driving, and like they have a bunch of containers that are magically set up like a fucking pyramid, guys. And Norman drives into that, and somehow that takes out Terry because Terry was on the back, but it should have taken out Norman because Norman was in the front. Whatever. Then they battle the cafeteria and hit each other with cookie sheets. Then Ralphus finally comes back and he hits Norman with a cookie sheet. You see almost all of Ralphus's ass. Everyone is down after beating everyone with the cookie sheets. Funk gets up first and beats everyone down again with the cookie sheets. He covers both men, and this is mercilessly over. And I guess Norman and Ralphus are fired. They are both crying after the match. My note here says, "The fuck are we doing?" Logan, what did you think of this clusterfuck? And Norman Smiley driving the golf cart in circles while Terry Funk was like out of position or something.
Yeah, anytime a golf cart is involved, it adds a couple of stars for me. But no, this was a mess, just literally and figuratively. It involved a large stack of crates that were set up just perfectly to get run over by a golf cart. So that's always fun. But yeah, so many cookie sheet shots, like so many cookie sheet shots. They definitely got every little bit of use out of those. In the little kitchen area or wherever they ended up. But yeah, just an absolute mess. Ralphus does not need to be in matches. If he's going to like accompany Smiley to the ring or whatever. I mean, like, I don't even know if he's technically a participant in the match or whatever, if he's just kind of helping Norman and it's kind of just Terry versus Norman. But he needs to be at best a manager, but probably not even on TV at all.
Yeah, I wish he would fuck off. Yeah. Hopefully they're gone after this. I have a feeling they are not going to be gone.
I don't think they are.
Of course not. So then we go to the front desk and Tony says that the announce desk, and Tony says that Canyon is fighting for his life, Logan, that he has severe trauma to a spinal cord and he can't walk right now, and he has damage to his C5, C6, and C7 vertebrae in his spine. And then Tony just fucking pivots to talking about David Flair turning on his dad. Mark Madden says that David Flair finally has a daddy, and it's Vince Russo, which is kind of weird to hear in 2026 years with like how daddy is used now. I'll leave it at that. But says his new daddy and it's Vince Russo because Flair wasn't there. And then we see Flair telling Package and Liz he needs to go be in the ring by himself. Have a commercial break, and this leads into Flair coming out with the mic, and he's holding the NWA title and the big gold title. Madden says Russo is there for David in ways Rick never was, which, going back to the daddy comment, I'm going to leave it at that. Madden gets a good line, says like the only kids he cares about is the belts, which, you know, as we've seen. Flair says in 1978, Terry Funk told me if I wanted to be a star in this business, I needed to get to St. Louis on Friday night. The crowd cheers him for it. Flair holds up the NWA belt and says how Jack Briscoe told him to work for the title. Flair says how it became his turn, that he says he was the best and what he desired to have. He gave up everything. We gave up everything, worked hard, and we partied all night. He holds up the big gold belt and says, Jeff Jarrett, don't pay attention to Russo. Say it, and says that he's the man now and don't be bogged down by him. Flair says we lived and died to be the champ. Flair says he's not retiring, and that he says all the glory it came to an end when my son David Flair, mentions Flair, not Flair, made a mistake of a lifetime. Flair tells David he's not mad and to come out and say he made a mistake. Says it's your father talking, not Ric Flair. David Flair comes out with an I Love New York shirt, and Daphne comes out, and then Russo's music hits, and he comes out behind them. All three walk down and get in the ring. David and Russo hug. Russo gets on the mic and says, you know what? They are making a t-shirt that says tradition sucks. Russo says last night he spit in the face of tradition. Russo pulls out a list of people's faces he spit in. They are Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe, Ted DiBiase, Dick the Bruiser, Dusty Rhodes, Sam Muchnick, and he gives Flair the finger. Flair says he's here to talk to him, and then Russo says this is my time, and says David is standing next to the father he never had, and he hugs David again. Rick says whatever this nothing happened to Punk said to you, it's not going to happen. Flair says he's being manipulated. Flair says come over here. Russo says tell him who's his dad. David says I'm mad at you, Dad. Flair says, "We won't air it out here. Come home and we'll talk about it." Russo says he sees it. He'll see it at Great American Bash, as it'll be David Flair versus Ric Flair, despite it's supposed to be Ric Flair versus Jeff Jarrett, as we learned on Thunder when he won the world title battle royal. So I guess he's doing double duty. Rick, back to it, but Rick says he's looking at you, David. I'm not going to wrestle you. Says David will work his way up from the bottom and says, walk over here. He doesn't want to, force him to the top like Nepo, Eric Watts. David says, I told you I was mad at you. Ric says not to air out a personal grievance. Rick pulls out his cell phone and says he'll call Vince McMahon right now and get him on Raw next week. This causes David Flair to say fuck WCW as he walks over and hugs Rick. Now, then Rick says he's going to kick Russo's ass. Rick gets Russo backed into the corner, but of course, it's a swerve, bro. David hits Rick with the Statue of Liberty statue that he had last night. I guess they bought him a bunch of these. David then beats down Rick. Russo gets on the mic and says, we will see you at Great American Bash. David picks up both belts, and Russo steals the Rolex again. So I guess they forgot that Ric Flair has a title shot, Logan.
Yeah.
And Flair looks like a dumbass. We all knew Dave was going to turn.
Oh yeah,
this is just dumb. It's just dumb. I mean, Flair gave a pretty good promo. It's Flair. Of course, I know you hate him, but David Flair should not be in this position.
I don't hate him. I just don't have the love for him that a lot of other people do. But yeah, great promo. Talking about the champions of the past, the people that brought him up in the business. He obviously wants his son to be on his side. He wants them to achieve what they can achieve together and not separately, obviously. But yeah, Russo's that constant, kind of annoyance that Flair continuously has to deal with in this rivalry that they've got going right now. So yeah, nobody bid on the fact that David was ever going to come back to Flair in this segment. It was always going to be a swerve. That was a really weird looking world title belt, by the way. The big gold, the version of the big gold he had there, it was smaller and kind of had a different design on it. I don't know if they use that one very often, but it obviously wasn't the one that we all know and love. That's been around for forever, and obviously it's the championship they're currently using. But yeah, no shock with David kind of turning and then turning back. But yeah, a good Flair promo. But yeah, he does ultimately kind of look like an idiot by kind of falling for it. But Russo, I'll say, is a pretty good heel in these segments. He does get some good heat and does a pretty good job of pissing other people off. So I'll say he did a pretty good in this segment.
But of course, he has to go over the top, because he does the crotch chop a bunch of times. He's like a fucking 8-year-old doing it in elementary school, that. And I hope he gets his comeuppance, but I know he doesn't. I know he never gets his ass beat. Never, ever, 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 ever.
Yeah, I guess if he was a great heel, he would eventually take that beating. But I guess we'll just have to see if it happens. Yeah, you're probably right.
He went to the Stephanie McMahon School of Heel Work.
He created women's wrestling? I'm just kidding.
If he had it his way, he wouldn't. So we take a commercial break. We see what just happened. Then we see Lexus talking to Flair, and Flair says he is done and leaves. Flair says he's had it with the business and gets in the car and leaves. Lex Luger's music hits, which I'm like, that's weird. But out comes Chuck Palumbo, who Tony says is going by the main event, Chuck Palumbo. Chuck poses like Lex Luger, and I'm going to say this. Chuck looks great. Rip to shit. Looks amazing. But when you're right beside Lex, probably not the best gimmick to be trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Lex has abs I didn't think were possible.
Yeah, I was just say if you're trying to be like a clone of somebody, don't try to be Lex. Even in this era, he's not quite as jacked and ripped as he ever was, but he's still pretty cut and defined. So yeah, probably not the best person to quote unquote copy
Yeah, like he's called the total package for a reason. Like, goddamn. Like,
Yeah.
but old old Chucky Boy gets on the mic and he introduces himself as the main event. Chuck Palumbo says he's 6'5" with 280 pounds. Says he has 3% total body fat. Madden says, and Luger has 4. I told you Chuck was better, which was pretty funny. Chuck says he's the total package and so much more. Chuck says he's a little pissed off because Lex is still standing after getting his ass beat last night. He says he will finish Lex off tonight and says the main event will work you, which need to work on that catchphrase, bro. Lex and Liz comes out. Lex gets in the ring and takes out Chuck with clotheslines, and then he hits his flying forearm. R&B and security come out and try to take Liz away, but Lex beats down R&B security while this is happening. This allows Chuck to hit Lex with the muscle flexor that he was having and flexing with. R&B security then kidnapped Liz again. We see Lex is unconscious. We go to commercial break, and then we see that Lex is being put in an ambulance, so he's gone tonight as well. So, you know, they're trying to do something with Chuck Palumbo. We had seen him in January with the power plant guys, Logan, but, you know, I'm glad they're trying to do something with these new guys because, like, we've seen it with Stasiak and Kurt Hennig, which don't even get me started on that. We'll get to that later. But not the best start for Chuck. He sounded really scared on the mic, like really scared. Like I'd probably be scared talking to 2,000 people on the mic. He sounded really scared too.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was one of his first times kind of doing something like that, which obviously it definitely was. But, yeah, he definitely seemed like he was uncomfortable. Obviously, he does like the packages, poses, and stuff like that. Eventually calls him out. Obviously, with Palumbo being kind of a new blood guy, Luger comes out and absolutely beats his ass. The new blood does get Liz back in the fold because the security guards kind of take her away. But yeah, Palumbo does end up on top, so you could say that. I guess the new blood kind of got over in the end, but yeah, not the best not the best opening promo for him. But I'll give him a break because it probably was the first time he's ever even cut a promo in front of like half of the amount of people that were there. So, you know, like I said, not the best, but you know, it was probably his first time. So I'll give him a break.
Yeah, that the main event but better line is terrible. So hopefully he drops that real quick. And then after that, we see Russo kicking everyone out of the locker room. He makes Liz and Daphne stay. Russo says that I'm doing this for you, Liz. He's trying to help her. He says tonight Liz will face Daphne in a wrestling match. Liz says she doesn't even know how to wrestle. And then Russo says you'll have to learn tough love. Russo says if Liz wins tonight, he'll rip up her contract. But if she loses, she's Russo's property. Then we see Russo give Liz a tire. And Daphne yells at Liz as she walks away. And then we go back to the ring, and Sean Stasiak's in the ring. He says, this is St. Louis, home of Mark McGuire. Sean says he doesn't need to put any cork in his bet, and the ladies know about this. And he says he's the perfect one. This leads us to match 2, which is Sean Stasiak versus Captain Rection. And Kurt Hennig comes out with him. I thought it was General Rection. I guess he gets promoted to General later, Logan. Who knows when that happens? But I rewound it twice to verify it was Captain. It's weird. I know MIA lore, but here we are.
Yeah. Could always be anything.
I will say no one gives a fuck when Captain comes out. I know he just had the gimmick change the night before, so here we go. But we get a collar and elbow tie up. Sean gets a headlock, but Captain Rection sends him into the ropes. Sean tries a shoulder block, but he bounces off. This allows Captain to get a clothesline, and then he pushes him in the corner and gets 10 punches in the corner. Captain Rection splashes Sean in the corner. We see Miss Hancock is out taking notes. And then Captain Rection goes to splash Sean again in the corner because we see that Kurt's holding him. But when Captain Reaction's about to splash Sean again, Kurt pushes Sean out of the way, and General eats the ring post. Sean then gets a kick and hits a perfect plex, and it's over. So that makes zero sense, Logan. This was a nothing burger match. I don't know why Kurt Hennig is here. He should be released. He barely brought anything in 1998. He sure as fucking bringing something in 2000. But him seemingly turning heel just like he did with Russo and with Buff. This is like a carbon copy of that angle.
Yeah, I'm fairly positive Hennig is pretty useless past his like initial uh, feud or storyline when he first comes in, when he's kind of not a horseman but kind of is a horseman, and then he turns on him. After that, he's pretty much useless for the rest of his run. But yeah, this was a nothing match. Really, nothing happened before the whole the turn. Obviously, Hennig helped Stasiak win despite them having feuded over the last like month and a half. So really makes no sense. But yeah, just a big nothing burger match for sure.
We'll see if this is followed up on Thunder or the next Nitro. Who knows?
Probably
Yeah, probably not. After this, MIA run out and then check on Captain Rection, and then Big Sexy comes out. Him and Kurt stare each other down. So probably nothing comes to that as well. Nash then beats up Sean Stasiak and throws him back in the ring because he was on the ring aisle. Sean eats a big boot and then a power bomb from Nash. Nash gets on the mic and calls out Russo, is wondering what Russo was smoking last night. Says it had to be the Chronic to hit him with the bat. Nash says Russo didn't kill him. He's got to face him tonight. Nash says he didn't know what happened to that Vince Jr. that he knew in WWF. Nash says, I thought we were friends, and says, and I even got your job back, but since you want to play, I'll play. Tells Russo to grab his balls and come on down. Filthy Animals music hits. Now comes Kidman, Tori, Conan, and Rey Mysterio. Me and Tony say the same thing, that the Filthy Animals are back together. Kidman says, hey, Big Sexy, it's time you learn your place in the pecking order, and says he's the low man on the scrotum pole. Billy says Russo doesn't have time for a washed-up wrestler like you. Kidman says last night he cut down one giant. He will cut down one again. Conan says screw you and screw the Wolfpack. He says the Filthy Animals are back. Conan says Nash better be ready to toss their salad and peel their potatoes. They run in the ring and attack Nash and take him out with a bat. Hogan's music hits and he comes out and he saves Nash. They all bail. Nash gets on the mic and says, what you don't understand is when you're atop the mountain, it's hard to be knocked off. He says, listen up, you little bitches. And he offers a handicapped street fight with Filthy Animals for a handicapped St. Louis street fight. The Filthy Animals versus Nash and Hogan. Hulk says, new blood, we're going to go in the back, take a Russo and wipe our Bischoff, and then we'll beat y'all's ass. Somehow ass was bleep, but bitches weren't. I thought that would be worse, but Logan, Filthy Animals back together. We enjoyed them. They broke up literally for no fucking reason, despite getting their ass beat by the Revolution a bunch of times. But yeah, I'm fine if they do this. Kidman has to get off the fucking mic. He's not that great. Sorry, Billy. Maybe Hogan was right. Billy. I mean, not about the flea market part. Oh, Billy. But no, Nash just makes everyone look like jabronis, as we'll see later tonight. It's like, Jesus Christ, like you wonder why this company was going down the toilet the way it was. I mean, I love Nash, but goddamn, man, like, what are we doing? What do you think of this?
Yeah, Nash just outclasses anybody on the mic anytime he's out there. And fucking Conan, fucking idiot, cuts a promo to the camera instead of to the person he's actually talking to who's in the ring. So somebody likes the look of themselves in the camera there. So but yeah, you're supposed to cut the promo to the person you're actually talking to and not the people at home while you're on the fucking ramp. I thought that was real stupid that he did that. But yeah, I don't mind the Filthy Animals kind of getting back together. It gives them kind of a group kind of dynamic, so they can tag, they can kind of help each other in singles matches and stuff like that. I kind of wish Conan didn't have to be involved, but I'm okay with Kidman and Mysterio kind of being together. But yeah, the idea of if they actually presented the match and actually did it, this could actually be a not too terrible St. Louis street fight. But we'll see if they do it right.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, Conan's okay. Like, he's pretty washed at the ring right now, but being a talker would be nice if he was like the talker for the filthy animals. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But we're told that next is the stretcher match. So before the match, Eric and Kimberly come down. They had showed DDP like carrying a stretcher before the match, but when he comes down the ring, there's no stretcher. But when Mike Awesome comes out, he's carrying the stretcher. So I guess DDP just handed it to him when they were both waiting backstage, Logan. Eric says that after this match, the divorce papers will be signed. As soon as Awesome gets in the ring, DDP jumps him. He hits him with the clothesline, and then DDP clotheslines Awesome over the top rope. DDP slams Awesome on the commentary table and then throws him in the guardrail. When he goes to do it again, Awesome reverses an Irish whip and sends DDP into the guardrail there. Mike throws DDP in the ring and beats down DDP with chokes and punches. DDP ducks a punch and hits a rock bottom, which they called a Uranagi. I don't know how to spell fucking Uranagi in my notes, so it became rock bottom, guys. But DDP hits Mike with punches. DDP then does the worst head scissors in history. It's like they were both stuck in a slow motion right there. But then Mike Awesome ducks a clothesline, but then DDP hits one. DDP hits a DDT. Kimberly then gets on the ring apron and is trying to get him signing the divorce papers. DDP walks over and tears up the papers. While this is happening, Eric had went on the other side of the ring and slid Mike Awesome a chair. Mike Awesome hits DDP with the chair twice, and then he DDTs DDP on the chair. And then in another wrestle crap moment, Mike Awesome tried to get the stretcher in the ring, but it wouldn't fit. So then Mike picks up DDP and hits another DDT on the chair. Mike rolls DDP out of the ring. He puts DDP on the stretcher. The refs begin to pull the stretcher away, but DDP gets off the stretcher and starts crawling in the ring. Eric gives Awesome a table. Mike sets it up. DDP finally gets in the ring. He picks up the chair and goes to swing and hit Mike Awesome with the chair, but Mike Awesome ducks and DDP collapses after swinging the chair. Mike starts beating DDP down with the chair. Mike then power bombs DDP through the table. Eric and then Awesome then force DDP to sign the divorce papers. I don't see this holding up in court, Logan, but I'm not a lawyer. Mike then drags DDP out of the ring and puts him on the stretcher. The refs run and pull away the stretcher, and it crosses the magical line, and this is over. Awesome, Eric, and Kim celebrate. Everything's just too short in this era, and not error. I mean, this was an era of errors, but everything's just too short. Of course, Eric and Kimberly were gonna get in there and do it, but I just want, if this divorce ends, can we get Kimberly off the screen and talking? Because she's such a bad actress. So horrible.
Yeah, she's not bad to look at for sure, but she needs to be off the TV screen. I hate to say that. I know that sounds very misogynistic and sexist of us, but she's pretty bad. Even real bad, I would even go as far to say. But yeah, this is an all right match. Obviously, like DDP and Mike Awesome so far throughout this pod, but it had two very distinct halves, I would say. DDP pretty much dominates the early portions of it, but once Kim kind of gets involved, DDP gets absolutely destroyed from that point on. Obviously, Awesome wins the match. But yeah, the big thing in this is the divorce papers. They got signed in his blood and all that. So, yeah, if this means Kim's gone, then I'm happy the papers got signed. But good to see Awesome get a win too. It might have been a tad nefarious, obviously, but at least he's winning matches.
Yeah, it was just give him a clean win. God damn. Like, try to build this guy up. You got sued over this. Build him up. Fuck, man. And then we backstage and we see Scott Steiner making out with one of his freaks. I'm not sure if it was Shakira or Madeja. Russo walks up and says, "Scott, Nash is trying to kill me." Russo says that Scott has got to help him. And Scott says, "I don't gots to do nothing," which was amazing because he said, "You gots to help me." And Scott says, "I don't gots to do nothing. And if you touch me again, I'm going to break your arms." This is like the fourth time Russo has touched Scott and Scott's starting to break his arms. I think he should do it just to fucking prove a point. But every time I see Scott Steiner on the screen, I'm like, this man should just be world champion. Jeff Jarrett, you've been great. I haven't hated you. You've been good. Just, God damn it. Scott Steiner should have that rocket ship shoved up his ass. But yeah, this we have a commercial break. We come back. We see Russo trying to recruit Tank Abbott for maybe to help with Nash. We'll see. Mean Gene's with Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett already tells Mean Gene not to piss him off and says he will slap Sting around like a pinata tonight, and then calls Gene a Jurassic slap ass, which I think I'm gonna start calling Sean. Sorry, Sean.
And Andy.
You won't listen. And Andy. And then Scott Steiner's music hits. Medeja. Low key Jurassic slap ass. That's what Tim Capel is, a low key Jurassic slap ass. Yeah, Tim low key Jurassic slap ass. Our true world champions music hits, Logan. That's Scott Steiner's. Medeja and Shakira come out with him. Steiner says, cut the music. Last night at Slamboree, he wrestled one of the Misfits named Hugh G. Rection. And says last night he took his freaks to the hotel and he found his own huge G. Rection. Just amazing, Logan. Just amazing. Like, this man. They can never make me hate you, Scott.
Bastard he is.
Right? They give this man a mic and just poetry comes out. Scott says that size does matter and he's the biggest of them all. He says he took both ladies to the mountaintop and they found Nirvana. He says they called me the big bad booty daddy. He says, being genetic freak, I'm a mountain of a man. He calls Booker T an amoeba because he has no balls or a backbone. And says he needs to come out and face him one-on-one. And while he's looking towards the ramp, Tank Abbott comes out and he attacks Scott Steiner. And he straight up knocks Scott out. And I'm just like, damn. So I guess like we're turning Scotty face, Logan. Which he's already been a face in my eyes. Man could do no wrong.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of doing what we asked them to do in the beginning, kind of splitting Steiner off separately. Not really Millionaires Club, but not really New Blood either. They seemingly kind of did that with Booker and the Misfits in Action and all those guys so far. So they're kind of their own group where they're not really one or the other. So good move. Having Steiner kind of be on his own. I don't know how long a face turn particularly lasts, but good to see him kind of break out of the New Blood and not really be held back by that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I wouldn't see where he goes with this. I know he gets the world title soon. I don't know if it's like in the fall, which knowing our luck, it probably fucking is, or up close. We'll see what happens. Don't ruin it for me, Grooney or Logan. So, yeah. So, we see that he's knocked out. Then we go backstage to Mean Gene with Sting. And Mean Gene says how the main event's for the WCW world title. Sting says it's all good. It's really good for me, and it's really bad for the New Blood. He said they made a stupid mistake by giving him a world title shot tonight, and he says, bring your guitar because it's showtime. Quick and easy to the point, Logan. Didn't really have a problem with it. God damn it. This might be the worst match I've ever seen. I mean, one of the worst matches I've ever seen that we're about to watch or talk about.
Yeah.
So, it's match 4, and it's the Harris Brothers. They suck. Harlem Heat 2000. They suck. Mama Luke's. We love them. Versus Chronic. So the Chronic, like everyone comes out. Chronic comes out like, are the Chronic World Tag Champs? I don't know. They act like the belts are theirs. Like, who knows? And they basically say that the New Blood sent all these people to take the titles back. So like they sent all these fucking jabronis to take all the titles. Tony also says that Scott Steiner is looking for Tank and Vince Russo, and if they find him, they'll cut to the back. So that shows you how much they care about this fucking match. Buff's music hits. Now comes Buff and Shane, who are the real tag champs, even though they haven't defended them since they won them at Spring Stampede. This causes all 6 men to start beating down Chronic. Harris and the Mamalukes start attacking them, but Bryan Adams takes out the Mamalukes, and then they fight the Harris brothers. Buff and Shane are on commentary. It's Harris and Brian Clark fighting. Then we cut backstage to Scott throwing shit around. Then all six are, when we go back to the ring, all six are beating down Chronic again. I have a note that says this sucks. Now, this doesn't make sense because the Mamalukes tried for a pin and get pulled off. Then they start turning on each other. No one's staying in the corner, so it's just like a, I don't know, Logan, just like a tornado tag, 8-man tag. I don't know. And then one of Chronic hits the F5 on Big Vito and pins him. They're eliminated, which makes no sense because when the Mamalukes try to pin one of the Chronic, they all turned on each other. No goddamn sense. Then Brian Clark hits some move. I couldn't even see it because everyone's in the ring and is pinned, and then they are eliminated. Then it's just Harlem Heat, and Buff says he's sick of this, and they start fighting Chronic. But Adams and Clark beat down Buff and Shane because, of course. Harlem Heat 2K hit a double slapjack on Clark, and then Stevie Ray turns and hits Big T with the slapjack, the actual weapon, and then he walks away. Buff and Shane then steal the tag titles, but then Chronic hit High Time and pin Big T, and it's over. I guess Harlem Heat 2000 is no more. And then Scott Steiner comes down, and he clotheslines Buff and Shane on the ramp. And then Scott slams Big Cash, who was in the ring, which, not gonna lie, was pretty impressive. And then Chronic takes back the tag titles as they leave. Scott calls Russo a New York son of a bitch and says, we aren't even until you send me Tank Abbott. Scott says, come on, Russo, I'm going nowhere, and your show is over. He grabs a chair and sits in the ring. Scott says, come on, Tank, stop gumming Russo in the back and come down here, which I was like, my God. Scott says Russo and Bischoff both aren't shit. And then we cut to the back, and Tank yells at Doug to not mess this up. You better do what I told you to do. That goes to commercial break. So, Logan, I'll let you talk about the match and then talk about what we just saw with Scott and whatever Tank Abbott is doing, threatening to do. But, yeah, that just a crazy time. Like, all that was like 20 million things happening, but it was like one continuous cut. Not a great cut, but it's one continuous cut.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely insane. The match was terrible. Like you kind of alluded to before we started talking about it, but it's the classic, there's one face team in a whole match full of heel teams, and their one goal is to obviously eliminate the face team and destroy them and lay them out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just not good whatsoever. Obviously, Chronic somehow still wins despite the fact that it's pretty much 3-on-1 teams wise. But yeah, Steiner didn't like that Abbott roughed him up earlier, so he calls him back out. Obviously, they have a bit of a brawl. He kind of does the Goldberg entrance. But yeah, obviously some craziness that happened after the match. But yeah, the match itself was absolutely terrible.
All right, so we get back from commercial break. My man's still in the ring, Logan. He ready to whoop some ass. Goldberg's music hits, and we see Doug Dillinger knocking on Tank's door like it's Goldberg, but it's the R&B security. Tank acts like Goldberg. This is kind of low-key funny because he's doing like moving his head around and everything, sticking his tongue out. When he comes out to the entrance ramp, the sparklers go off, and he's standing in it. But when Tank gets in the ring, they both trade punches. Scott actually picks him up and slams Tank. Tank gets body shots, but then Scott hits his belly to belly, and then he gets a crossface on Tank. Rick Steiner walks out from the crowd and gets in the ring. He pulls Scott off of Tank. Ricklin attacks Scott, sadly. Tank and Rick both beat down Scott, and then Tank hits the knockout punch again. We see Russo saying, chew on that and don't cross the boss. He says, Liz, you are up next. Now hurry. Then we see Russo stop by and say something to someone and says, are you ready? I need you on standby. So Rick Steiner has returned. I don't even remember the last time we saw him, Logan.
Been a minute.
Maybe. Wait, was it you know what it was?
Was it when Scott fake retired?
When Sid... No, it's when Sid powerbombed.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When he fucking wrecked him. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's So it's when Scott powerbombed him off the stage. So it's been a minute. So But sadly, the Steiner brothers can't do Rick and Tank. I believe they had been sorted together when those Rottweilers attacked Sting at Great American Bash '99. I don't know why I fucking remember that, but I do. So they're back together. Scott's clearly a babyface now with getting punked out twice with Tank Abbott. But Scott looked pretty impressive throwing that big motherfucker around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just chucking people around, throwing suplexes back and forth all around. So yeah, that definitely looked impressive. Obviously, he has the numbers advantage kind of stack up on him eventually, but this definitely makes Scott look like a badass.
God, he's so awesome.
And a continued awesome. Low-key burial of Goldberg, because Abbott totally makes fun of him with the entrance and all that.
Yes. Like, it is a low-key burial. It's like, okay, all right, that's how it is. Okay. So we take a commercial break. We see what happened. Logan, this is when I check the time, because this is big of Russo shows where he crams all the shit in, and then we have to hurry everything up. As you might remember, that 4-man U.S. title ladder match, which was like 4 minutes remaining, and they had to run down.
Yeah.
But we have match 5, which is Liz versus Daphne, because we have 22 minutes left, guys, in the show, and 3 matches left. So I can't wait to see how they do this. I hope Liz and Daphne goes 15. Spoiler alert, they don't. So if Liz wins, she's free. Liz is out first. She's dressed like she's a member of fucking MIA. Daphne's out wearing a shirt that says Liz will die. It's pretty dark.
Well, they're not
Liz
wrong.
slaps Daphne. Yeah, that is true. Liz slaps Daphne and does a snap. It does 2 snapmare. Jesus Christ, Logan. And I'm supposed to be the dark one. Oh my god. All right, Liz is choking Daphne. Out comes the insurance policy Medusa, and she pulls Liz off. That gets us a DQ, despite, other times when there's matches like chairs, multiple people running in. Liz gets a DQ. Then Mona comes out and attacks Medusa. I had no idea Mona was still in the company. She's not long for this world, because she becomes Molly Holly soon. Mona hits a back spring elbow. But when Mona went for a bulldog, Medusa then turned that into a slam. Medusa attacks Mona. Then Liz gets out of the ring and so slowly grabs a chair and hits Medusa. Then R&B security come down. They take Liz to the back. And then we see Hogan and Nash walking backstage. This was a nothing burger of a match. This just showed that Mona was still there. Like, I wonder if Molly Holly's done any shoot interviews and talked about being Mona.
I don't know, but that would be definitely interesting. I don't think she's kind of the shoot interviewee type, if you know what I mean. So I kind of doubt it. She might have talked to maybe like a Chris Van Vliet or somebody. Maybe you can get her in some kind of situation like that, but I don't know. I don't know that she's ever talked about it. I probably wouldn't if I was her. But yeah, I mean, this match was basically nothing. Obviously, it just kind of is there for the interference to randomly bring Medusa back for no reason whatsoever. She looks like absolute shit, like always. No shock there. Obviously, like you said, Mona comes back and kind of takes care of her. I don't know that we get a result in this match, so does Liz win because they attack kind of go after her at first? So does she win by DQ so she doesn't have to be under Russo's employ anymore, or is it kind of a no contest? So I don't know if they really announce a winner or anything like that, but real up in the air. But yeah, nothing but 2 minutes of slop ass Medusa for a little bit. But yeah, pretty just basic, but nothing really happening, and really more confusing than anything.
I guess she's lost because R&B security come and take her back. So
yeah, I guess
that's what I assume.
Or it's like a weird loophole that she like didn't lose but also didn't win.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's just dumb. So we come back from commercial break. match 6 is the Hulk Hogan and Nash versus Filthy Animals in a St. Louis street fight. Hogan's out first, Nash out next. We got 16 minutes left and 2 matches left, Logan. Kidman's out next with Tori. They wait on the ramp, and then the Filthy Animals come out. Then Kidman waves out Mike Awesome. So I guess Mike Awesome's now in this match. It's the Filthy Animals and Kidman and Mike Awesome versus Hogan and Nash, St. Louis street fight. All 6 are in the ring. Nash, of course, takes out Ray and Conan quit. Hogan, of course, beats down Kidman. Hoovy runs down for some reason, and he gets on the announce table. No idea what he's doing. Hogan grabs a chair, and you see him throwing the worst chair shots in history. Like, my God. These new blood are just getting squashed. The only one that's able to hold his own is Awesome. Filthy Animals and Awesome lure Hogan to the back. While this is happening, Hoovy hits a missile dropkick on Nash. We see Horace Hogan attack Mike Awesome, so there goes Mike Awesome being cool. Then Hogan, I guess, comes out of the gorilla position, and we see the Filthy Animals have been waiting for him, and they beat down Hogan with a baseball bat. They throw him in the back of the car. Horace chases after said car. We go back to the ring, and Nash power bombs Hoovy. Ref calls for the bell. No contest, I'm assuming. And then we go back to the back, and we see a garage door opening so slowly. So if Horace was still running Logan, I think he would have fucking caught him by now, because that shit was opening slowly. And then in a night full of dumbness, we get introduced to a new character. The Goldberg monster truck, Logan. That's what we're introduced to. Not Goldberg. The Goldberg monster truck. As the car's taken off after the garage door is open, the monster truck stops the car. I'm like, is Goldberg back? They're like, oh my God, Goldberg's driving the monster truck. It's like, no, he's fucking not. Filthy Animals just get out of the car and leave. So, like, whatever. But, like, Goldberg monster truck's like fucking Kit now, which is dating me, as I told you earlier. I've never seen this show. I just know the reference of Kit because the voice was Feeney from Boy Meets World. This is just dumb. And then when we go to commercial break, we see Hogan getting out of the car and running away. Tony keeps asking, who popped the trunk? Who popped the trunk? Just fucking dumbness around. All around, Logan. We got fucking new character. It's the fucking goddamn Goldberg monster truck. And it's so stupid. It makes no sense at all. It's just like, is Goldberg on his way back? Who knows? We know Goldberg's not driving that fucking monster truck.
Yeah,
this match was nothing. Just new blood getting their ass beat. Sorry, I'm hot.
Yeah. More new blood ass beating here from the Millionaires Club. But yeah, we don't even see who's driving the monster truck. Obviously, I think we're supposed to imply that it's Goldberg, but we don't ever see Goldberg. So who knows? That would have been nice to see, but yeah, we just get the truck. We get the truck here. We get the truck later. Loki was kind of hoping he would run over the car with Hogan in the trunk, but that's another thing for another day. But yeah, just another match again. But yeah, we get the monster truck. WCW loves them a damn monster truck. We obviously added a 95 with the Giant and Hogan, and we're back here with Goldberg. So, and I'm pretty sure Medusa's like a low key like monster truck driver. I don't know if she's doing that at this point or if she did this after WCW shut down, but yeah, WCW loves them a damn monster truck.
Well, they had their own monster truck slogan.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that would, I guess, perform. Like I'm pretty sure.
You ever been to a monster truck show?
Of course, I'm from the fucking country. Of course, I went to a monster truck show. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Mississippi. Of course, I've been to one, whether I wanted to or not. I think it's like a rite of passage, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, of course. So, like, looks like there's a lot more monster trucks than I thought, Logan. There was a Bret the Hitman Hart monster truck, a Bret the Hitman Hart Bigfoot. Oh, that was a WWF monster truck, but it was a Medusa one, like you mentioned, the Goldberg one, a Sting one, a Nitro one, a New World Order one, a Hulkster and a Hollywood Hogan, and a Sting one, like that I guess was Bigfoot. They look kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. But sadly, I never saw any of these WCW monster trucks. But I didn't realize it was made up until they were like, yeah, Bigfoot wins all the time. So it's like, oh, it's fake like wrestling.
Yeah, just another cool thing to be into as a child.
Were you big into him?
No, I had a buddy that was pretty into it. So I went to a couple of shows with him, but I wasn't. I mean, I thought it was cool, but that wasn't something like, oh, can we go to the monster truck rally, Dad? I wasn't. I wasn't like asking to go with it, but I would go if somebody else invited me.
Yeah, I remember we went one time, and I used to get bad ear infections as a kid. Like I had to get tubes and shit. And you know how it's loud at monster truck things. One time my eardrum ruptured at one of these, so that was fun.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all.
I was basically like the starter kid, Logan, for my parents. Well, because I was the oldest one for my mom and real dad. So like when they got step, I became the middle child. But yeah, all the weird shit happened to me. That's what happens. As we've known each other for 6-7 years now, and you've seen all the weird shit that's happened. So anyway, God, we went off on a tangent there with monster trucks. Did you have any of the toy monster trucks?
Probably at some point, but I didn't like collect them or anything like that. I wasn't ever big into like cars or anything like that. So, I mean, I had some Hot Wheels and stuff like that, but I was never like super duper into cars or anything like that. So I probably had a monster truck, but I didn't have a bunch of them or anything.
Yeah, it's I never had them either. Like I had like the big wheels Bigfoot that I guess I drove around as a little kid, which yeah. So
yeah.
But who knows where the hell that came from. But so it's in the show on a high or a low note, whichever way you want to feel, guys. Match 7, the main event, Sting versus Jeff Jarrett. We got 7 minutes left. Jeff Jarrett's out first. Sting's then out. When Sting gets in the ring, Jeff attacks him, but Sting ducks a clothesline, and he attacks Jeff. He gets 10 punches in the corner. Then he misses a Stinger splash, but Sting was able to stop himself in midair, so he didn't hit the turnbuckle. Sting then clotheslines Jeff over the top rope and then beats him around the ringside area. Sting suplexed Jeff onto the ramp, which was pretty impressive because they were both standing not on the ramp when he did it. It was a pretty sick spot there for Jeff. Sting got on the top rope and he went to do a splash onto the ramp, but Jeff moves. This allows Jeff to start beating down Sting. And then Jeff grabs a chair and he hits Sting with the chair. No DQ called like when Medusa ran in. They battle up the ramp. Jeff hits Sting's leg with the chair. Jeff starts walking back to get back in the ring, but Sting gets up and actually hits a running clothesline, takes them both out. They're both in the ring. Both men are down. Jeff gets up first and he puts on a figure 4. Jeff cinches it in and gets a 2 count from this. Sting uses the crowd to will him to turn it over to break the figure 4. Then when they're both on their feet, Sting blocks 2 punches from Jeff. Then he takes Jeff down with punches in the clothesline. He hits a Stinger splash, then he hits another one. Then he gets the Scorpion Deathlock over. And while Jeff's about to tap, Vampiro comes out from underneath the ring and he pulls Sting under the ring. A lot of smoke goes off. It looks like a fire extinguisher smoke. So we're supposed to believe, I guess, Vampiro can do smoke. And then when Vampiro drags Sting back out from the ring, he's covered in the red liquid, aka the blood. Jeff pins Sting and it's over. Crowd is loudly chanting bullshit while this happens. Vampiro beats down Sting after the match. Then the New Blood come down and they beat down Sting. Wolfpack music hits. Now it comes Nash and Hogan. And they beat down all the young people for the show to end. Wait, the show's not over yet, as Tank Abbott and Rick Steiner were trying to leave, and Kitberg truck runs over their car. So Goldberg's truck is now a character, like I said, and that brings us to an end to Night of the New Blood, as I called the episode, Logan. So not the best night for the New Blood, as they might have defeated DDP, but Hogan and Nash made them their bitches.
Yeah, 100%. Nash and Hogan must pose. And then, that's probably been WCW's MO for years at this point, but definitely has been a little bit more prevalent in this storyline. I thought the match was fine for what it was when it was happening. Obviously, of course, the thing's not over with Vampiro, so at least he looks strong in this. He brings Sting to the ring, seemingly beats him up, suffocates him with the fire extinguisher smoke, and then pours the red liquid all over him again. So at least Vampiro got one over, I guess. But yeah, solid match beforehand. Jared obviously gets another big win over a big superstar. Again, Nash and Hogan pose, and then we get, like you said, Kitberg completely just destroying the getaway car for Rick and Tank there.
Yeah, like I don't understand like how we're supposed to believe this is Goldberg. Like, get out and fucking show us it's Goldberg. It's so dumb.
And the truck totally gets stuck.
Just ask
it was trying to like run over and back over it, and it gets stuck and like totally is just chilling there at the end. So I don't know what they had to do to get it unstuck, but it was definitely trapped when it went off air.
Yeah, real embarrassing. But yeah, that brings an end to another episode. Before we get out of here, we go over the world champs at the end of the show. The world champs, Jeff Jarrett. U.S. champ, still Scott Steiner. Tag champs, despite them not having the titles, it's Shane Douglas and Buff. Cruiserweight champ is Chris Candido, and the hardcore champ is Terry Funk. For most absurd, Logan, I said David Arquette being a mole, which made no sense.
Yeah, that's a good one. Giving us the Goldberg truck with no Goldberg seems pretty absurd, so I'll go with that, I guess.
Yeah. Goldberg truck, aka Kitberg. And then what was good? I don't know, Logan.
Yeah, awesome winning.
I have a question mark. Yeah, awesome winning.
Maybe I'm Mike awesome winning. Other than that, I'm not sure.
And what was bad? I said Hogan and Nash still destroying the New Blood.
Yeah, just New Blood continued cucking.
Yeah. But we had 7 matches tonight, 1 clean finish, 6 non-clean or non-finishes, 0 pole matches, 5 pole matches still overall. We had 4 gimmick matches tonight. That brings us to 121. Somehow 0 guitar shots tonight, Logan, which is impressive.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
Still stuck at 38. Yeah, real weird. 28. You said 28 different things happened tonight.
I think it was 29, actually. I think I miscounted. It was 29.
Sorry. 29, which is still 44 is our 2-hour record. 69 is a Nitro, like a 3-hour record. So there we go. We're still at 47 title changes overall, as 0 titles changed hands. And as I said at the start of this episode, really, we were smarter than Vince Russo's WCW. We knew that off the chance tonight. But yeah, so we're smarter than Vince Russo's WCW. That brings us to an end of another episode. Join us in 2 weeks for episode 41, where we'll be going over the Thunder after this. Hopefully it can only go up from here, Logan.
Yeah, you would hope so. We shall see. Yeah, like we kind of said at the beginning, this was one of the worst Nitros we've watched, I think. And our group chat that we're in obviously pointed out that we've said that 100 times, but and obviously, like you said earlier, Matt has told us that it gets worse at some point. So yeah, you got to think Thunder can only go up from here, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think when Russo takes over completely, like we'll see the wheels really come off.
Yeah, I think we're still enjoying stuff now, so we'll see. We might get to the point where we don't enjoy anything.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. But that brings us to an end of another episode of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I'm Scott Shufflett. He's Logan Crossland. Thank you so much for listening.
Brr.